The wife has gotten her driving license in Dubai.
That's right. And today we're going to talk about how to get a driving license in Dubai. So, step one is to convince yourself that you should get a driving license in Dubai because financially it's a huge investment. What that investment is, how can you break it up, we will tell you at the end of the video. So, do stay tuned. Now, let's walk through the steps. Step one is to find your driving institute. The most popular one that I also registered with was EDI, which is Emirates Driving Institute. You also have several new ones like Dubai Driving School, Belhassa, some old ones which already exist. So, first you need to find out if you're eligible for a golden chance or a direct license conversion, which means if you have an existing driving license from your home country like US or UK or even Australia for that matter, you can go and get your driving license converted directly. But in case of people like me, who had a driving license in India or who do not have a driving license currently from their home country, they need to go for first driving classes and then the test. So step one, you go, you find the driving institute of your choice. There are Emirates Driving Institute, the one that I signed up with, which is one of the most popular ones. Then you have Belhassa, you have Dubai Driving School, and so on and so forth. So you first go and register yourself with the driving school, which will give you a driving learning permit. Once you make the payment, the permit takes roughly 2 days. After the permit is registered and delivered to you on your email, you will get a link to attend theory classes. Now, most of the institutes have done a wonderful job to get you acquainted to the traffic rules and the road rules of Dubai and of UAE. So I would really suggest that you should look at those videos and attend those sessions with a lot of attention, because they are extremely detailed and it's very good to familiarize yourself with the rules before you start your actual driving lessons. If you are a working individual, I would say there are around 8 chapters or so. So the whole module could be roughly of 8 hours or something. So it can take you up to a week. So take your time and finish the theory lessons online. Most of them are online. Then you can take some mock tests at the registered website as well, so that you get to know what are the kind of questions that you may be asked at the theory test. Then you go for the theory test, which is at the center. Now you go, it's generally in like a proctored room. The test is for 15 or 20 minutes. You have some multiple choice questions, and if you answer around 80 or 90% of them, then you get a passing certificate. Immediately after you've completed the test and if you've passed, you can ask the institute to register yourself for an eye test. For that also, you need to go to the institute to get your eyes checked. If you get a passing certificate, that's when you can tell the institute to arrange for your driving classes. So how many classes it would take for a person to get acquainted with the road would depend on whether you would have previous driving experience or not, and if you have a driving license previously from your home country or not. I went for a 10 class package because I had driven in India before. Generally, each class is of 1 hour, but if you want a pick up and drop facility where the instructor will come and pick you up from your desired location, then they club 2 classes into a singular day. So your class could be for 2 hours. So you would do 2 classes in a singular day. I would highly recommend that because you can, in 1 hour, there's not a lot of learning that you can do. So having 2 hours of learning in a day will really help you speed up the process and get you acquainted a little better. I would also suggest go with a single instructor because each instructor teaching style can be different. So if you start with with a particular instructor, I would advise to stay with that same instructor. The first day would be where you familiarize yourself with the basics of the car, with with acceleration, brake and mirror setting, and with the general sort of rules before you start and step into the car. And it's extremely essential because not just during the exam but even during your regular driving sessions, you would need to be very particular about them. So the first phase of the driving test starts here, where you go for your driving classes. After the 6th class, which is after day 3 or day 4, your instructor, depending upon how you have performed, might recommend you to go for an internal driving assessment. Now, this takes place internally within the institute, where a institute individual or instructor examiner would try and assess how far your progress has been and if they should advise you to take some extra classes. Now, please be mindful that I went for an unlimited package, which meant that I could fail multiple times, but there was a stipulated amount of money that I had paid before, like a lump sum amount, and which gave me the liberty to have not had that pressure that every time I fail I need to pay something. But there are individuals who go for like smaller packages, like just 10 classes and then a singular attempt, and each attempt costs money. So you need to be very, very vigilant about that. So you go for an internal driving assessment, and if you pass that, then you go for your parking training. Now, in case of parking, you need to take care of 3 maneuvers, which is one is the angle parking, garage parking, and parallel parking. So that would also be for roughly 2 hours, where they walk you through the tips and tricks. They're quite detailed in how to familiarize yourself with your car, with the road markings, on how you can perfect your maneuver. So do listen to them, do write it down, record yourself, draw it, if whatever works for you. After you're done with your initial road assessment, if you've passed, after you're done with your parking session, then comes your parking test. Now, in the parking test, it's basically in an RTA vehicle, which has sensors, which has cameras. There isn't an instructor that sits next to you. It's just you and the car in a smart yard assessment. You need to do 5 maneuvers. One is the angle parking, garage parking, parallel parking, slope test, and emergency brake. Before the RTA parking test, some institutes might give you like a small session for 15-20 minutes with an instructor to familiarize yourself with the car, where the sensors and the cameras are there. You can opt to take it or not take it. I would highly recommend that you should take it, because it just this is the first time that you're going to be in the car without anyone. So it's always good to just have a understanding of what that space would look like. On the day of the parking test, you need to sit in the car, do your pre-checks, would be your mirror adjustment, your seat belt adjustment, your steering adjustment, all of that, and then you start the test. For each of the maneuvers that you need to perform, there is a stipulated time that you need to complete it in. Once you're done with all the 5 maneuvers, you park your car and then you walk over to the receptionist, who would tell you whether you've passed or not. In case that you have failed one of them, you don't need to repeat all the others. You get a chance to go and attempt it again. In my case, I had failed the emergency brake the first time, the rest I had passed. So I had to reschedule my test to pass that maneuver. I would highly advise that if you fail a particular parking or if you fail a particular maneuver, to try and reach out to the instructor if you can get a class, or if you can get some sort of, maybe if you have your friends or someone who can give you some guidance, because if you have not gone for the unlimited package, each attempt will cost a lot of money. So once you're done with the RTA parking test, that's when you come to the real devil, which is the RTA road test. Now, before the RTA road test, most institutes would give you 2 hours of highway training, where you go for 2 hours on like 100 kilometers per hour or 120 kilometers per hour road. My instructor took me to the Dubai Hatta Oman road. Now, this is again because in Dubai and in UAE, the roads do have these kind of speed limits. So you need to be okay to change lanes at this particular time and at this particular speed, and you need to have that confidence. I think the key to everything in Dubai is, first of all, to familiarize yourself with the rules of the road, to familiarize yourself with the car that you're driving, and most importantly, to have the confidence to drive in the right manner and follow the book to the T. That is what the instructors are looking for. That is what your fellow drivers are also looking for. On the day of the RTA test, I would advise that if the duration or the gap between your last driving lesson and your RTA test is a lot, go for an extra class. I mean, I know it's a lot of money, and every time that you go for an extra class, you have to pay 120 or 150 dirhams per hour extra, but it's totally worth it because every time you fail and you go for a new attempt, it's around 1000 dirhams extra. So you do the math. On the day of the test, there would mostly be another person with you, or may not be, depending upon the slot timing. I would advise to choose a slot timing which is early in the morning, where there's less traffic on the road, so you know that there's less hindrance or less hazards on the road, as we say. But it all depends upon availability, and you're not supposed to ask any examiner anything. The examiner is only supposed to give you instructions, and you're supposed to follow it. There are no major mistakes that you can commit. If you commit any major mistake, which is an accident or not following the instructor's instructions, or any kind of movement that caused the instructor or the examiner to intervene, or that is take control of your steering or use the brake, then you're automatically failed. There are also some minor mistakes that you might do, like driving at a slow speed or sudden maneuver of the car, but you can do up to, I think, 8 or 10 of these mistakes, like 14 mistakes totally. I don't remember the number, but minor mistakes, that is. But I mean, if you're following the rules of the road correctly, and if you are following the instructor's rules correctly, then you will not face any of these problems and any of these mistakes. So the day of the test would roughly be, the duration of the test would roughly be for 10 or 12 minutes. I know it's too less. Some might think that this is too less a duration for someone to assess your driving, but trust me, the examiners are so well seasoned. They exactly know whether you are ready for the road or not. If you pass the test, the examiner will tell you with a smile to go to the building to collect your driving license. If you haven't, then they are quite detailed in what went wrong, because they are required to give you that feedback, and they might ask you to take 2 hours or 4 hours of driving class again, and then you can reschedule the class. So how much time did it take? Well, it roughly took me 3.5 months to get my license. This did involve a large break that we took when we went over to Europe, and it also involved getting availability of dates. But yeah, 3.5 to 4 months is roughly the window that I would say it would take most folks to get their license. But if you are, a seasoned driver, then hey, you might get it in 2 months or 1 month. Let's see. But so yeah, that's it. That was my Dubai driving license journey. I think as someone who has always felt very proud of excelling in exams, this was the toughest exam of my life. I did fail, which I've never done in my life before, but at the end, it was all worth it, because it's a treat to drive in Dubai, and I can't wait to hear all of your stories.